I'm 92 years old. And yesterday, for the first time in 71 years, I said my brother's name out loud, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in forgiveness, and it nearly broke me. You see, there was a time when Thomas wasn't just my brother, he was my shadow. We grew up in a small farming town in Iowa, 2 boys, 1 year apart, inseparable. If you saw me, you saw him. If you saw him, I wasn't far behind. We shared everything, our room, our chores, even our dreams. But there was one thing we didn't share. Her name was Margaret. She moved into town in the summer of 1953. Blonde hair, soft laugh, and a kindness that made you feel seen. We both fell for her the same way boys do at that age, quietly, hopelessly, foolishly. But she chose me, and that was the beginning of the end. Thomas never said he was hurt, never admitted it. He smiled at our wedding in 1956. He stood beside me as my best man. He even toasted to our happiness. But I could see it in his eyes. Something had shifted. 3 years later, everything exploded. It was October 1959, harvest season, the kind of cold that bites your hands before winter even begins. Thomas and I had taken the truck out before sunrise. We were arguing about money, about the farm, about Margaret. He accused me of changing. I accused him of being jealous. Words were thrown like punches. And then he said something I can still hear clearly today. She would have been happier with me. I don't remember deciding to swing. I just remember the impact. He stumbled backward, hit the side of the truck, hard. There was blood, not much, but enough. He looked at me not angry, just disappointed. That look haunted me more than anything. He left that night, packed a bag, didn't say goodbye. I told myself he needed space. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Then one afternoon, a letter came. Not from him, from California. Thomas had moved west, found work. In construction, the letter was short. He's doing fine, doesn't talk much about home. That was it, no apology, no explanation. And I was too proud to write first. Margaret begged me. Call him, she said. He's your brother. But pride is a dangerous thing, especially in young men who think they have time. Years passed. We had children, built a life, expanded. The farm, from the outside, everything looked perfect. But every Thanksgiving there was an empty chair. Every Christmas, an unopened envelope with his name on it. Margaret tried once more in 1972. She found an address for him and mailed a card. It came back, returned to sender. By then the silence between us had grown too thick to cross. In 1981 I heard through. An old neighbor that Thomas had married. No children, quiet life, kept to himself. I wondered if he ever thought of me, if he ever replayed that morning like I did. Margaret passed away in 1999, cancer. In her final weeks, she held my hand and whispered something that shattered me. Don't wait too long to fix what matters. I knew what she meant, but I still didn't move, because by then I didn't know how. Time kept marching forward. My children grew older. Grandchildren filled the house with noise and life. And I became the old man who sat quietly at the table, staring at memories no one else could see. Then last winter, something happened. I fell, nothing dramatic, just my body reminding me it wasn't 30 anymore. At the hospital, the doctor spoke gently but clearly. You've lived a good long life, he said, but you should start preparing, just in case, preparing. The word echoed in my mind long after I left that room. For the first time, I realized something terrifying. If I died tomorrow, my brother would never know that I was sorry, and worse. I would never know if he forgave me. That thought kept me awake all night. At 92 years old, pride feels heavier than it did at 29. So I asked my granddaughter to help me. Can you find someone for me? I said, she's good with computers. Within days, she found him, alive, 93 years old, living in a small town in Oregon. I stared at the address for hours before I picked up the phone, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. When he answered, his voice was thinner, but unmistakable. Hello? For a moment I was 20 again. Thomas, I said. There was silence long enough that I thought he might hang up. Then he said, John. He remembered. We didn't speak about the fight at first. We talked about the weather, about aches and pains, about how strange it feels to outlive almost everyone you once knew. His laugh was softer now, slower. Then finally I said it. I'm sorry. The words felt foreign, heavy. I should have called. I should have written. I should have come after you. There was only breathing on the other end. Then he said something I never expected. I was waiting for you, waiting 71 years. And he was waiting. He admitted he was hurt not just about Margaret, but about feeling second best, about living in my shadow. And I admitted I was afraid he'd reject me, afraid I'd have to face what I'd done. We cried, two old men, separated by decades of silence, crying like boys again. At one point he chuckled and said, You still throw a lousy punch, and for the first time in 71 years, we laughed together. Last month my grandson drove me to Oregon. The trip took nearly 2 days. When I saw him sitting on that porch, thinner, slower, but still my brother, I felt something inside me mend. We didn't hug right away. We just looked at each other, two lives, two separate roads, same blood. Finally, he stood up with difficulty and said, Took you long enough? And I hugged him. At 92 years old, I learned something I wish I had known at 29. Time doesn't heal wounds. Silence doesn't fix pride. Distance doesn't erase regret. Only courage does. We can't change what happened in 1959, but we changed what happens now. We talk every week. We argue about politics like we used to. We share stories about Margaret, about the farm, about the lives we built apart. And sometimes when I hang up the phone, I think about how close we came to never speaking again, if you're listening. And there's someone you haven't called because it's been too long. Call anyway. 71 years is too high a price for pride. I'm 92 years old, and yesterday I finally forgave my brother. But the truth is, I think I was really forgiving myself.